NESN's Jerry Remy is joining us. A lot of cool things NESN has coming up, and we'll get to those in just a little bit as we welcome Jerry in.
Rem Doug, are you asking yourself right now, what the hell am I doing here?
No, I know exactly what I'm doing here. I guess I just got the text about 5 minutes ago.
All right, fair enough. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that
who are these guys?
Like, why am I here and who are these people? But thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
Well, Jerry, let's start with the baseball side of things. It was certainly an interesting stretch after the first time around against Tampa and against New York, and of course the trading deadline right smack in the middle of that as well. But ultimately, where do you see this team right now as they get closer and closer to September?
Well, it's very hard to tell right now. I mean, obviously you're not looking at first place. The Yankees with a 16-game lead right now, and they're a very good club. You're not going to catch them. The only hope they got right now is for a wild card spot. And that's going to take a lot of work. They play some of those teams again, but they're also going to need help. So it's going to be very difficult. But, knowing the guys in the clubhouse, I still think that they feel like they can catch a wild card spot. And if they can, if you get into the dance, you never really know what can happen. Anything can happen then. Maybe the pitching that hasn't been so good all year will turn around and pitch good for the last 6-7 weeks of the season. And you might make a run, who knows. But it's going to be very difficult. They put themselves in a bad spot. They had a great situation going into New York, Tampa. Didn't play very well at all. That really hurt them.
Yeah, obviously, Chris Sale pitching well last night. If the Sox are going to do something, it starts with him. And honestly, I think for the rest of the year, the thing that Red Sox fans have to be looking at more so than anything is, can we, what does Chris Sale look like down the stretch here? He's here for a long time. He's going to make a lot of money. I love him. He's a warrior, but at the same time, you need the results on the field. So a lot of this, not just maybe getting back into it this year, but what the future looks like here, a lot of it depends on what Chris Sale looks like.
Well, it does. They signed him to the long-term contract, and last night we got to see Chris Sale at his best. I mean, he was great last night with his fastball. I thought he came out in the game early. He established his fastball. He was throwing harder than he had in a long time. But it's just not the velocity. He had a great breaking ball last night. Not too many changeups, a few changeups, but not quite as many. And it was good to see because that's Chris Sale. What we've been watching for most of this year just hasn't been him, and it's frustrated him. You can tell. He's such a competitor that's been driving him absolutely crazy. And once you get into slumps in baseball, whether it be offensively, pitching-wise, defensively, they're tough to break because you got people telling you what you're doing. You got to try this, and you got to really get back to the basics. What made you successful? And I think that's what Sale did last night. So hopefully he'll have a good finish to the season and moving forward. That's the kind of guy we're going to see. And I'm confident we are because he's just too good a pitcher. He's one of the elite pitchers in baseball. So to see him go through a stretch like he did this year was hard to believe.
Did anyone expect this kind of year out of Rafael Devers this quickly?
I don't know about this quickly. You knew watching him that he was going to be able to hit. He was going to be a good hitter. I think the thing that's impressed me the most this year is the improvement of his defense. He's still got 17 errors, but that's down a lot from a year ago. He's making plays now that he couldn't make a year ago. And his offense is, he goes into streaks. Like right now he's in a bad streak. He's 0 for his last 10, swinging at a lot of bad pitches right now. But when he stays in the strike zone, he makes as solid and hard contact as anybody I've ever seen. I think that he's going to lead the league in hitting at times. I think he's going to be close, to a home run title at some point in his big league career. But, to have a kid that's 22, 23 years old be this good. Most kids at this age are either in AAA or they're just getting out of college.
Right.
He's been at the big league level for almost 2 years now, so you got to give him that, and it takes a long time to get used to this level of competition.
What do you think the long plan? I imagine the long plan term with Evaldi is still to return to the rotation next year, but do you think that's realistic? Like from what you've seen, what you know, and he hasn't done well in the bullpen. He's not really a bullpen guy. He's never really done that, so that's not all that surprising. But do the Sox feel like he's a viable starter?
Well, the thing that concerns me about Evaldi is, he's got all the stuff in the world. Right. He really does. But the fact is that he also has had a number of surgeries, and that concerns me. Can he take the wear and tear of, being a starting pitcher, going out there every 4 days, over the course of a whole season? Will that play with him? I don't know. I think he can be a good closer. I really do, because he's got that kind of stuff. He just has to learn how to mix it up. He's a starting pitcher. He wants to be a starting pitcher. That's probably what he's going to be a year from now. But I also think he has the ability to be a closer because he has overpowering fastball at 99 miles an hour. He's got the cut fastball that's like 96. I mean, he can overpower people. So the thing that worries me most about him is not his ability, his health. and because he just had bone chips taken out, he's had that a couple of times. He's had Tommy John, so he's had a lot of issues. So you just don't know what you're going to get, every year in and year out health-wise with him.
I know something NESN is excited about, just less than 2 weeks away from the Jimmy Fund Telethon. It's the 20th and 21st, which I believe is Tuesday and Wednesday, and I know it's something that's close to your heart every year.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great event. It's grown every single year. We love it. It's 2 days worth of, just raising money for one of the best causes you could possibly raise money for. And, I've had personal experience over the last 10 years with cancer, so I know how important it is, the money that they receive from people for these new treatments that people are getting. And, stuff that people were dying from, 10 years ago, now they're living longer because they have these specialization treatments that, they're able to explore and raise money and create and help people live. So, and anybody that's ever visited the Jimmy Fund over there, you see these sick kids, and it just makes your heart break. And, when you're able to have some kind of solution for them, it's amazing. And when we see them come to the ballpark on those particular days, just to get away from the treatment, and come out to the ballpark and enjoy a day or so here, and it's just a great feeling. So, we're really looking forward to that. NESN and WEI has done it a big time over the last couple of years, and we've raised an awful lot of money for them, and it'll be the focus of our show for two straight days.
Well, Remdog, it's real good of you to join us. We appreciate it a lot. I know it's a little chaotic, but
that's okay.
You're here. You made it.
I'm here. I'm always here.
We're all good.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on.
All right, my
nice
pleasure.